I got your attention, didn't I? Okay, let's get this meeting going. You're first. Well, that's the most important business of the whole meeting. I'll let Tom clarify that policy when we get to him. But at this time, I would like to start our April 2021 meeting. I'm asking Don Jones if he would give the invocation this afternoon.
Shall we pray? Almighty God, we come here as to celebrate, to have fun, to enjoy the love of each other. We ask your blessing this day upon the council who give so much time. To those who have served us, we are so fortunate. From cooks to servers to house cleaners to bus drivers, the list goes on and on. May we be appreciative of what we have. And in that spirit, may we also find strength to share that goodness with each other. Those who cannot come, those who are bedridden, those who are ill, those who are just discouraged. May we give them a letter, a call, a greeting, even a smile, and do it in the name of the love that we have here at Westminster. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Don. Before we get down to the reports, I would like to ask the new residents, if you moved here from March of 2020 through March of 2021 and have never been to one of these meetings, I would like you, I was going to say raise your hand, but we got a lot of people here. I think you need to stand so we can see you. A lot of new faces. And today, starting today, you can see their face, not just their mask. Okay, let's move along to business. I'm going to ask Sue Henderson, the secretary, to give the report of the last meeting.
Thanks, Catherine. It's great to see all of you. Madam President, the Westminster Village Residents Association meeting minutes dated March 9th, 2021 have been duly transcribed and distributed. I move they be adopted.
I second the motion.
And I'm going to ask for a vote. All of you who are in favor of passing the minutes that were distributed in your mailbox to say aye. Aye. Is there anybody opposed? Nope. That's good news. We'll move along then to the treasurer's report by Mimi Severs.
Thank you, Catherine. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, okay. This is the report for the month of March 2021, and we began the month on March 1st with a balance in our checking account of $9,201.33. We had one cash deposit in the amount of $130, and I want to talk about that in a minute. But we ended the month on March 31st with a balance of $9,331.33. And that's composed of the Employees Gift Fund balance, $4,862.78, the Caring Lenders Fund balance of $4,468.55, for a total of both fund balances of $9,331.33. I just want to get back to the cash deposit of $130. I received this in an envelope with Megan's initials on them. No explanation, but I'm pretty sure that this is surrendered tips from employees. And I just wanted to remind you all, especially the new residents, about the rules about tipping employees. It's not allowed. And if you do try to force it on them and they take it, they have to turn it back into management. And it eventually makes its way back to me and back into our account. So please, please don't try to tip employees. Hang on to your money, and we have a fundraising effort every fall to give the employees a nice check from all the residents at the holidays. So thank you very much, and that's it.
Thank you, Mimi. Nobody clapped for me. Well, I guess I didn't really introduce myself. I am the president of the Residents Association, and I have been doing this since the beginning of COVID, and I was doing it on TV. It's Channel 22, so you know how the viewing was. But it is so good to be back in a room with all of the residents. I'm going to ask Sandra Harris to give the dining services report, and you all know that's the most important committee because everybody has an opinion about dining.
Dining services is a controversial committee. I thought since we haven't been together in so long that I would explain a little bit about the role of the Dining Services Committee. We serve as a liaison between the residents and the management of dining services who attend our meetings. So we bring our suggestions and ideas and our critiques to the meetings, and the management staff listen to us and present us with their ideas for upcoming events. We meet once a month for 1 hour. One of the perks of being on the committee is getting to meet the personnel who work for dining services. And at our meeting last week, we met with Tony Romolo, who is the new manager of the Gap Garden Cafe. He's been with us now for a month. And he's a very personable fellow who loves to see us smile when we eat the food in there. And if you haven't had a chance to meet Tony, please introduce yourself. He'll be very happy about that. Now in Ocotillo, we have 4 tables that seat 6, and so we can now have groups of 6 in Ocotillo. One of the 4 tables is a community table. And so if you don't have any plans or you don't have a partner for that night and would like to go to Ocotillo, you can walk in and ask to be seated at the community table, which is how we used to do it. And in Jayhawk, we now have 2 tables for 6 for the happy hours, so that's a little bit expanded also. We're hoping that by Mother's Day brunch, which is May 9th, we'll be able to invite any number of guests and have tables of any size. That is in the planning stage now. We're able to have 2 outside guests for our dining venues per apartment. So if there's 1 person in an apartment or 2, you can have 2 guests invited in. So that is what will be expanded hopefully by May 9th. We no longer need reservations for Ocotillo or the Garden Cafe. We still need reservations for Jayhawk. Happy Hour is very popular and may have a waiting list, and so that requires reservations. By the way, the open table, which we used to use, the computer reservation system, is now in place. So you can make your reservations as far ahead as a year. So that's nice. Donnelly's, I'm often asked, when will we get Donnelly's back? It's hoped that it will be open in May, but there's no tentative date. There's no date set right now. We're looking forward to breakfast on Tom, and yes, that first one will be April 29th, is the last Thursday of the month, and we'll have them monthly for the rest of the year, those of you who have not had breakfast on Tom. It's a complimentary breakfast. It's a lot of fun in the Garden Cafe, where Tom and the other managers will wait on us and serve us a wonderful breakfast. So I invite you all to come. What? Well, the more the merrier. The grocery store, the delivery service, and the farmers market will continue as they have been. Those are very popular programs, and they will not be discontinued. Okay. Now, I'm about to end. I had dinner last Saturday night in Ocotillo, and I had dinner last night with the horseradish salmon in the Garden Cafe. And it was wonderful to see those rooms filled, or almost filled, for the first time. But one problem has been that residents are not showing up for our wonderful dining venues. And so the Dining Services Committee discussed this, and we want to invite you to come out of your apartments. We've gotten used to delivery services and not having to get dressed, and it's so convenient. But you know, we're really here to meet with our neighbors and friends and to come out and enjoy being with other people. So we hope that you'll begin to do that, so that life at Westminster can soon be Westminster again. In advance, I thank you for that.
Okay, next, Eleanor Frederickson is going to give her report. My agenda says marketing, but really her committee has expanded to marketing, administration, and communication.
Right.
So we are going to hear from her now.
Yes, thank you, Catherine. Okay, Kathy McCullough is our new marketing director. She reported that we currently have 50 individuals waiting to tour our campus. We are tentatively scheduled to resume tours the week of April 26th, and ambassadors are going to be needed to help with those tours. We have 5 residents who moved into Westminster in March. 9 more residents will move in April through June, and currently there are 7 apartments vacant. Our construction crew is busy with completing remodels, and Tina and Susan and Kathy are very busy selling. In recognition of National Letter Writing Month, our future residents received a water lily koi pond note card designed by Emily Randolph, who is the daughter of our Westminster Kathleen Randolph. A nice gesture. Thank you. Thank your daughter, Kathleen. And the Best of the Valley campaign starts this month. Nominations are April 1st through the 21st, with voting May 1st through the 22nd. Please check your minutes when you receive them in your mailbox, because the website will be listed for you. Tom Winkleman reported that our work continues on the licensing for Wyrick, our healthcare center. This needs to be completed before we can begin construction, which we hope will begin in early 2022. Dan Potet, our project manager, is updating software throughout the campus, and the employee area will be first, and after that the residents will be completed. Garth Began is our CFO, and he reported that the accounting office will continue to cash personal checks up to $200. Chase Bank will be reopening on Friday, April 16th, barring any COVID changes. Personnel from Chase will be on campus on Mondays and Fridays from 9 until noon. They do not handle cash transactions, but are available for all the other help and services. The Chase ATM is available 24 hours a day. And a draft of the 2020 audit report has been received, and the final copy will be audited soon. Let's see, Foundation comes under my task also. They're meeting to develop an endowment fund. There will be fundraising committees through the board of directors and so on, but now we know that it is now part of Westminster Village Board. And a date will be set for the 2022 gala, which will be held this coming year at Westminster Village. And Leslie, I don't know if she's here, but Leslie's last day with us is April 30th. She will be greatly missed. Kim Evenson reported on communications. We continue to update our Facebook and Lincoln websites. Please let her know if you have information you'd like to see on those websites. I understand that they are used especially for people seeking employment here, and also mom and dad look at that to check out if you should be here. So your kids look at that too. I don't look at it so much, but other people do. So do keep that in mind. It's the young people that do. We also have been able to donate some of our dated food to St. Mary's Food Bank, which we're very happy about because we certainly stocked up for the COVID over the months. Anna Corello told us that the guest suites are now open and you can make reservations through her. Our tech people continue to be very, very busy. The front gate checkpoint, of course, is no longer there, and AJ has been able to be retained in the concierge staff. I had the privilege of having him work for me one day on my computer, and he is good. So, yeah. Also, we're now using the AquaShield sign for signing in our visitors and employees on campus. So please remind your friends and your family that they must check in at the front desk. And then please read the minutes for all the details. Thank you.
Okay, next up we have health services. And boy, has health services been busy during COVID. You get notes slipped under your door or find something in your mailbox that changed your whole world. And Joanne was involved in communicating that. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the job that she's been doing there. So please listen to her report today and hear about more changes.
Well, thanks very much, Catherine. That's very sweet of you to say that. Hopefully this is going to be the last time I sit for this report, but I think it's better for my safety yet in my return to being upright that I sit for this particular report. I'm sorry I can't see people in the far back, but hopefully you can hear me. If not, let me know. Indeed, health services is a very, very busy area. And there is a tremendous amount going on now. It's just different. The priorities that the department has set are new staffing and reorganization of the staffing. So that's one of the priorities going forward. Eleanor mentioned the relicensure and YRIC remodel is one of the others. And of course, return from the pandemic living that we had the past year. So there's still a lot going on and a lot of new stuff beginning to happen, which excites me a great deal. What I'm tickled about is that the staff, along with the committee, are interested and excited about moving ahead with new strategies. So some of the things we couldn't do this past year are going to get started, and some things we learned about this past year we're going to try to introduce into what it is that we do here at Westminster. We have a great committee. As everybody has said, I remind you to read the minutes. And in the minutes, you'll see all the people who serve on the Health Services Committee. We do enforce at each meeting or request people, remind people that it's the committee's job to bring resident comments, questions, what have you, to the committee so that we can address them. I urge you all, if you know people on the committee, please, if something is on your mind about health services, give them a call, meet with them, chat about it, and we can deal with it at the committee, either directly, put it on a future agenda or whatever it might be. But please remember that we want to hear from you about health service issues. Important reminder, it's kind of interesting that this came up in really the last couple of months. But what I learned is that one of the reasons Bob and I chose to move here was for the safety that it was going to provide us and the medical support that was available here at Westminster. And I have found that it's amazing that a lot of people have kind of forgotten that. So what I want to do is remind you that that is very much at the core of living here at Westminster. So just as a reminder, if an emergency happens and you need help, you fall, what have you, and you think you just need help. As you know, you've got cords in your apartment you can pull. If you're upright, you can dial 0 and talk to the operator. And we have the press alert devices that we encourage everybody to wear in their apartments. If there's a necklace version and there's a wrist version, so if you don't have one, go to the front desk and ask them to order one for you. They're free. Take a couple weeks to get them. But if you don't have one, please get one and wear it in your apartment. You never know when something's going to happen. And that's obviously, I've had occasion to use that, and boy, does that service work. Those people are there like that. So please remember that's one of the benefits of living here. If it's not an immediate emergency, something happens one day and you're not quite sure, and you want somebody to look at it, call home health. They'll send somebody over to take a look at it and work with you in getting that taken care of. It's just a phone call away. We've got these fantastic guides. Try to hold it up high here. Everyone should have gotten one when you moved in. If you didn't and you need one, call the marketing department. Periodically, please look through here. We were trying to find stuff that was missing, right, Eleanor? And there's not a lot. This is really, really a good book with most all the information you're ever going to want. So, important item to have and to look at it periodically. But don't forget, pull the cord, dial 0, press your alert button. That's your call for help, and they are here to help you. A little bit on that same note, Summit Healthcare, who works with us in the therapy area, is continuing to report an increase in the number of falls. That's not a good thing. Some of it, she says, is happening because people have been secluded the past year and not doing the things they typically do. Hydration, another big one. And just not having a proper setup in your house. So, reminder, again, free. It's free. Call Summit. It happens to be 2033, but the 0 would get you in touch with them. Tell them you want to have a free assessment. They'll come to your house. They'll do a balance assessment, and they'll take a look at your house and see if there's anything that maybe you ought to get rid of or change or whatever. It's a great service. In fact, Lindsay said at the last meeting when we were talking back and forth about this that she's going to come up with a little checklist that we can provide everybody to kind of do their own assessment of their own home in terms of safety items. So just remind you, it's free. Have it done. Bob and I did, and we were really glad that we did because we made some big changes. Okay, regarding WIRC, you already said it, Eleanor. The relicensure is one of the priorities for this year, and it's moving ahead, and we had some good news this week. So the relicensure is moving along. Once that is completed, then we'll move into the actual remodel phase of WIRC. Some great news. Elva, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Elva Laforthan is the new director of nursing. She came on board before this all happened to do another job. I think it was quality review or something like that. Anyway, COVID happened. Tom had her take over the responsibility of managing the whole COVID process and how it played out here. She did such a great job that Todd was just hoping she would stay on board and that there would be a position that would open up that would be appropriate for Elva to do, and it did. So Elva will be assuming the Director of Nursing Services. If you haven't met her and you have occasion to do that, I encourage you to do so. We are lucky to have her. She's going to make a big difference in that role. Another new staff person, I told you there was staff stuff. Lisa Mickelson is the new Healthcare Social Services Manager. Haven't had that filled in a bit. It's an important one that we needed filled, and she comes with incredible credentials. Todd is, again, real excited about having her come on board. As I mentioned last month, Madge is going to move into becoming the manager of Sackton. That's going to happen shortly. We have a new hire that's coming on board. Her name is Lori Zevin. I may be murdering these names, but Lori Zevin. She's going to fill Madge's role as the director of home health and wellness. So you'll be seeing some new faces, again, as we always do. Welcome all of them and let them get to know you. Elise Stevens is a lady who comes to us through Summit. She's filling a really, really critical need that we've had. And it really is transition care coordinator. And what that means is that whatever, like I just said before, you're going to call down and say, this is happening, or I'm having my, whatever. You have a medical need. It's her job to come talk to you, work with the staff inside Westminster, and that would include the other health departments, but it could also include very much so transportation. So she will work with you in making sure that all of your health needs are met, and she'll help you coordinate them. She's great. I had the opportunity to work with her on my surgery, and boy, was it a relief to have her do all the things that I would have had to do on my own. So she's great. Again, she's part of that backup support when you dial 0 or pull the cord. And here's kind of a big applause thing, a couple of them. A social worker is now available in independent living. They're available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you want to talk to the social worker, you just simply call Home Health, and they'll make the connection for you. The other one is that our fitness classes and water aerobics classes are back. I know from hearing from lots of people that was a big one to come on board. So just watch your notices for the schedules and so on as it relates to that. In Sackton, Michael Calderon reported that they're sprucing up the place a bit. It's a little spring cleaning. And that looking forward to Madge coming on board. Also, he reported that the biggest problem they have is getting staff. I think I've heard from other people that that's a big problem these days, is getting staff. And it's not that they don't love it. They come here, they like our community and all that sort of stuff. It's getting them in the door. In fact, Michael said, can we offer an Amazon gift card or something to let them maybe be interested in coming to see us? Anyway, just kidding. But that remains a problem throughout the industry. I'm going to conclude with a couple of questions that came to us by Pam Penn, one of the members of our committee. She'd been hearing these questions and finally brought them to us, and so I'm going to tell you about them now. They're also in the minutes if you want to look them back up. But it has to do with long-term insurance. Okay? For life care members, will I be able to stay at Westminster Village through end of life without long-term health insurance? The answer is yes. For community members, will I be able to stay at Westminster Village through end of life with long-term health insurance? The answer is yes, and it's also yes without. So the answer to the community members is that it's with or without. And here's the real guts of that. Westminster offers essentially a long-term care insurance plan. For the life care members, it's part of what you pay. For the community members, get the same services, you just have to pay for them. Okay? That's kind of a simple way of putting it. And again, if you have questions on any of these things, just come to us and we'll find somebody who can sit down and explain them to you. We have it on our list to do as an educational session to just remind people what the life care and community care contracts are like. So maybe in the next few months you'll see that as a scheduled item. So that's it for me this month. I'll see you next month. Thanks a lot.
Good afternoon. It's really nice to see all of you, really see your faces.
I'm going to introduce Carolyn Mendoza to you. She is the newest person on the Residents' Council. She had been on Activities Committee for a while, and when the need arose for a change, Carolyn stepped up and has been the chairman. So she isn't used to all of this yet. She doesn't know what goes on behind the scenes. But she is here to tell you about activities.
Thank you, Catherine. First of all, I want to let you know that the activities staff received a lot of positive comments about the Olympics. There was a really good turnout from the residents and a lot of comment cards about how much residents enjoyed it. Best news maybe today is Lou Shaw and Larry Lincoln have begun working on a new jazz series for this fall, which will start in October. And Lou just told me they're going to try to have about 8 performances, and he just told me before the meeting that they've already got 4 arranged, so they're doing really well with that. Bingo will now be played live here in Nuremberg Hall, and you will not need reservations for that. Activities staff are going to be looking for donations for a purse and jewelry sale sometime before May, so you'll get more information about that later. Activities department has several games available for residents, and if you have any interest in doing that, you need to contact Krista in activities, and she will schedule a room for you and your friends to play games. There are 2 new stylists part-time in the salon. They'll be there Mondays through Friday, but only part-time. And Anna is trying to work on finding a nail tech for the salon. We had several off-site activities by activities members suggested, including getting back to the lunch bunch and the off-site happy hour. Those things are nothing like that scheduled quite yet. I think when administration feels that it's safe for us to do that again. If any of you have suggestions for activities, either in-house or off-site later, please contact me or anyone on the activities committee, and we'll be happy to see if we can get that started. Thank you.
Last but not least, by any measure, is our friend Bernie.
Hi folks, how's it going? It's been a long time. I was wondering, I picked this thing up, I wasn't too sure which end to talk into. It always helps to speak in to the right end of things. You get more done that way. To give you another idea as to how long it's been since we've done this, you see the guy at the end of the table down there with the expensive suit and the funny tie. Well, last time we did this before the COVID stuff, he had hair. Now look at him. Okay. If this COVID stuff would have gone on any longer, he might even be eligible to become a resident. Okay. And if he was a resident, we'd have to look for another CEO. Well, we got a substitute right up here. Robbie Raccoon is substituted for the CEO once when he went on I guess I've almost got censored here, you know. Management was shutting me down. But anyway, Robbie Raccoon substituted for the CEO once when he was over in a conference for a week, and place ran just fine, which is a testament to the good team that the CEO has and things. And if somebody wants to know more about what Robbie Raccoon is, they should contact Megan, because she had a write-up that I sent to her about two years ago about him. So anyway, but I guess I'm up here to give a report for plant ops, and I guess I'll get to it. The railing over by the entrance to the Wyridge Healthcare Center on the south side of the building has been replaced. Maybe they don't want me to give a report either, you know. I don't know. I'll jump right to the end. Well, anyway, the railing's been replaced. That was sort of crashed into by a car that didn't stop at the parking spaces and jumped the curb and did a number on it. I guess they were trying to emulate Tiger Woods, but I don't know. Housekeeping is getting more applicants now, but they are 6 people short, but they're looking for more people. And they've been given the green light to allow outside carpet cleaners and duct cleaners to come into the facility again. So Coit and Stanley Steamer have been around for a while so people can get their carpets cleaned. We've installed 2 new pool heaters and a spa heater, and we fixed the cool decking on the pool, and that must have really been a real surprise to the budget. Those things are expensive, so I don't know if we'll get the right amount of money for our food or stuff like that. They may be cutting back, you know. We may have to suffer a bit here.
Bernie, it's going to come out of your pocket.
We have a new hire in maintenance, a fellow by the name of Matthew Crucio. We now have 4 maintenance guys. We really need 5, so we're still looking for another one. Do you guys remember the fire alarms that we had last week? Yes. Hopefully they've been replaced. And what they had to do was replace a couple of valves. There was backflow problems, and they had to put in some bleeder valves in. So when they do remodeling on apartments, they shut the water off, and air gets into the line, and this system is an old system here, such that if the backflow valves aren't working properly, water comes out of the sprinkler system pipes into the regular pipes, and then when you turn the water back on, the flow goes back into them, in the sprinkler system pipes, and when there's flow in the sprinkler system pipes, automatically an alarm is triggered. And guess what? We've had that 4 times last week, and Scottsdale Fire Department is notified immediately when we have an alarm here, so they automatically come over and look at it. But I think by the 3rd or 4th time, they called first to make sure ours wasn't a false alarm. And the last thing I want to talk about is the relationship between outside storage cabinets and parking spaces, okay? Some of you people have been asking about them, and there's no formal guidelines, there's just informal guidelines. There's actually approximately 215 storage cabinets outside. I went and counted them about 2 or 3 years ago, okay? And there's actually about 240 parking spaces for residents. So there's not enough storage cabinets per parking spaces, okay? If you get rid of your car, if you have a parking space, you usually have a storage cabinet. If you get rid of your car and you get rid of your parking space, you may be asked to get rid of your storage cabinet, okay? And when you do, you have 30 days to clean the storage cabinet out, okay? Now, there's some residents who have gotten rid of their cars, but they want to keep their parking space. So that's cost the resident $75 a month, okay, to do that. And at one time when this place was first built, there was enough storage cabinets for the residents, and they were located in the back where the employee parking lot was. Now, when they had to remodel the parking lot, they increased the size because the residents in the neighborhood didn't like employees parking in their neighborhood, so they had to take storage cabinets out, and that's why we were short storage cabinets. Now, I don't know if you want to keep your parking space if you don't have a car. If not having a car and paying $75 for the parking space actually allows you to keep your storage cabinet. I'm not sure of that. Nobody's explained that one to me, and it's sort of like, by guessing by golly, I think. I don't believe there's a formal document on any of this, okay? But that's what I've been told. It's sort of informal. If you've got a parking space, you should have a storage cabinet. If you've got 2 parking spaces, you really shouldn't have 2 storage cabinets. You only should have 1. And I know one family here had 2 cars and 2 storage cabinets, and they got rid of one of the cars, so they got 1 parking space and 2 storage cabinets. Now, that's not cool, but that's the way it is. Anyway, that's what's happening in plant operations. Thank you.
Well, if Bernie says it, it must be true. We're coming out of a long, dark winter, it feels like. And we have bright summer sunshine in front of us. I don't want to hear any more words about social distancing or shelter in place or telemedicine. I want to look forward to families coming in the dining areas, to residents cautiously entering the world outside of our campus. And today has given me such encouragement to see so many people in here. They're interested in our community. And I can't tell you how good it makes me feel to see people here. You know, when we tape on TV, it's only the 9 of us in the room. And it's not, and they aren't always all awake. I didn't see anybody sleeping here today, so I think we're okay. I'm going to adjourn the meeting and let Tom have a chance to say a few words while he has everybody here. Thank you.
Well, and so I only want to talk for about an hour, so hopefully that's it. Now they're censoring me. No, it is. It's so amazing to see everybody back in the same room. And I know you talked about the masks. us employees will continue to wear our masks. We don't know when we're going to be able to lose our masks, and we're going to ask your visitors to continue to wear a mask. But for residents, it's really up to you now. We're at a point on campus with the number of people vaccinated, with the low numbers in Arizona, that we feel it's got to be your choice at this point on campus. If you're comfortable without the mask, there's nowhere on campus where you need to wear it. If you still want to wear it, you're more than welcome to. I tend to think we'll see masks around for quite a while, but it's now a personal choice with the low numbers and the fact that we had such a good turnout for the vaccination clinics. So it's amazing to see people back. It's amazing to think that we can start to get back towards that normalcy. And again, we're really looking at Mother's Day being that day where we're pretty close to being back to where we were in January of 2020. So our goal is to continue to move that. Us employees will continue to have some extra precautions to take place because we didn't have 100% or 99.9% turnout for the vaccination clinic. So we're going to continue to wear them for your safety, but there will come a point where we start to see employees take these off. And so this is the case for residents in independent living. In assisted living and skilled nursing, there are still guidelines that say anybody who enters there needs to wear a face covering. So if you go up to visit a friend or a spouse up in assisted living or in Wyrick Healthcare Center, you're going to be required to wear your mask in there. But in independent living, you're going to be free to make your own choice. So again, I think that's great news. We've been looking forward to that for a long time. I know you said we don't want to hear about social distancing and those, but you said use caution, and I agree. It's still not 100% safe out there. It's never been 100% safe out in the outside world or anywhere. But use caution, use good common sense. We are going to start having transportation for church services and getting people more out in the community. But again, it's a personal choice for you to take that risk because it's not a huge danger to the campus as it once was because of the vaccinations. But we're going to start seeing more of those services and more transportation to different stores. And again, I do look forward to seeing people out and about, getting back to life. We're happy to see family members on campus again. And again, getting back to where we were a year ago. I do have a Let's Talk coming up on the 21st, and we're going to talk more about that. How did COVID affect us as a company, as a business, and as a community? We have a long ways to go. You know, COVID put us back, not just 1 year of COVID, but 2021 is going to be catching up on some of those strategic plan items. So we'll talk about that, about getting back to being a great place to work during COVID. It's a really hard place to work. Going back into reopening services and everything changing again for employees, it's a really hard place to work, and it's going to be a really hard place to work for another year. So we just want to talk about that because that does affect all of you as well. As we start having Donnelly's open and the restaurants open, we're still going to be providing delivery services and grocery services. So again, it's an adjustment for the employees as well. Talk about starting the tours again. You know, we didn't want to bring outside people into Westminster Village when it was a risk to all of you. But that puts a crunch on people being able to move in. We've started seeing the move-ins, but now it's time to do the tours again. So we're going to see Westminster Village moving back to where we were. But it's going to take us a little bit of time, so continue to be patient. And again, I just thank all of you for the patience you've had over the last year, that you've made it easy on us, and we've been able to work together as a community to really get through to where we are today. So thank you all.
I saw them restock the cookies. So feel free to fill up on your way out. Thank you for coming.